Let me tell you a story that the media will never explain properly. It's the story of Iran, and more importantly, it's a warning to the West. Because what we're watching unfold right now in Iran didn't come out of nowhere. It wasn't sudden, it wasn't irrational. It was set in motion decades ago by the very powers now pretending to be shocked by the consequences. In 1953, Iran made a mistake that powerful interests could never forgive. It elected a leader who believed that Iranian oil should belong to the Iranian people. Mohammad Mossadegh moved to nationalise oil production, cutting Britain and the United States out of a resource that they believed that they were entitled to control. So the champions of democracy did what the champions of democracy always do when it threatens profit. They overthrew it. The CIA and MI6 orchestrated a coup, removed a democratically elected prime minister and reinstalled the Shah as an authoritarian ruler loyal to Western interests. From that moment on, Iran was no longer sovereign. It was managed. Its people lived under torture, surveillance, secret police and cultural humiliation, all in the name of stability. That resentment didn't disappear. It fermented. And by 1979, it exploded. Students, workers, secular reformers, communists and Islamic groups all rose up together to overthrow the Shah. And for a brief moment, Iranians genuinely believed that they'd reclaim their country. Revolutions don't end when the dictator falls. They end when power consolidates. And in Iran, the most ruthless and organised faction won. The Islamists seized control. They executed or imprisoned the communists. They purged secular voices and crushed dissent. And they replaced one form of tyranny with another, establishing the Islamic Republic. A revolution born of Western interference was now weaponised by religious absolutism. See any parallels? The new regime as well quickly turned on the United States. The embassy hostage crisis humiliated Washington. A rescue mission failed. Iran became isolated, sanctioned and very defiant. And then came the Iran-Iraq war. 8 years of slaughter, millions dead. And once again, Western powers backed a dictator, Saddam Hussein, to contain a monster that they'd helped create in the first place, thus creating a second monster. The war in Iran taught a lesson. If you can't beat the West directly, you fight them indirectly. And so Iran perfected proxy warfare, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, influence without borders, plausible deniability, endless instability. And even, and I saw this with my own eyes, in the early 2000s, Western soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan were killed by bomb technology linked back to the Iranians. The consequences of meddling were now being paid for in our own blood. And still the cycle continues because the sanctions tightened, the economy collapsed, the regime entrenched itself further and further, and while the world spoke endlessly about Iran as a threat, it ignored the truth that mattered the most. The Iranian people are not the Islamic Republic, and they never were. And now, today, as we watch, after decades of repression, humiliation and enforced ideology, they're rising. You've got women burning hijabs in the streets, young men facing bullets with nothing but courage, entire cities saying no more. Not to the West, not to Israel, but to Islamism, to religious tyranny, to a system imposed on them through a chain of events that began with Western foreign interference and has ended in domestic oppression. Today we see in direct confrontation in the region. We've got escalation between Iran and Israel, American strikes on the nuclear facilities, red lines crossed, but beneath all of it, the real war is internal. A regime clinging to power and a population that's finally had enough. And this is the lesson that everyone in the West needs to understand. When powerful nations interfere in other people's sovereignty, they don't create democracy, they create resentment, they create extremism, they create monsters, and eventually, ordinary people pay the price. Iran today is not just a story about Islam, it's a warning about arrogance, about hubris, about what happens when elites believe that they can reshape the world without considering the consequences. But wherever you are in the West right now, Britain, Europe, America, Australia, you need to be watching Iran closely because the Iranian people are doing something very extraordinary. They are standing up and saying no. No more religious domination. No more ideological prisons. No more lies from the government. They are leading the way. And the media won't say this. The politicians won't say this, but I will. We need to stand in solidarity with the Iranian people. Not the regime, not the ideology, not the manipulators behind the curtain, but the people. Because this is what awakening looks like. And once you've seen it, you will never unsee it again.